Hey guys, it's Salita Blue, and I'm actually taking over Vladimir's page, show, YouTube channel today. You know, so yeah, we've been meaning to do this for a while, and finally, like, we managed to be in the same place, same time.
Same time.
You know? So we have a lot to talk about today. You know, I think we were on a phone call the other day, and we were talking business, and then the conversation went, you know, in another direction, and you really threw me off with some of the things you were talking about.
Such
you know? You know what? Before we even go into it, I'll kind of like introduce myself a little bit, and I guess you can, you know, go into a little bit about yourself. So again, I'm Salita Blue, writer, author. I guess now I'm doing interviews, but consultant, what have you. And Vladimir, I mean, I know this is your audience, but you know, my people want to know who you are too.
I'm Vladimir Laurent, and I'm everything you want me to be. Everything, anything you want me to be.
So he's everything to, you know, just like Walmart. Everything you need.
We have it all.
One spot, one location.
That's it.
So the P word. I think that's what, you know, you kind of threw me off with.
Well, people might get confused when you say the P word. That's the polygamy.
Okay, so.
So we have to be careful what we say on this platform here.
Okay, so the P word is polygamy. You know, polygamy. So I think, well, first, you know, I'm gonna go into a definition of what it is, and you know, for those of you who don't know what polygamy is. So polygamy is, I guess it's the belief or the act of having more than one wives or girlfriends as a male.
Wives, you know, because it's legal.
Okay. In some places.
In some places, definitely.
Okay.
In Africa mostly.
And it goes both ways too. It also involves a woman having more than one husband.
Yeah.
At the same time. So I don't believe in it. I don't agree with it. How do you feel about polygamy?
Let me ask you a question. Is infidelity a crime?
Is it a crime?
Is it illegal?
It's not illegal, but it could come with some repercussions.
Well, it's immoral.
Right.
But it's not illegal.
Right, but in the state of Florida, for instance, the husband commits infidelity, and that leads to a divorce. He can pay some penalties for that.
Not all the time. Not all the time. A lot of people are cheating, and they still keep it together. A lot of time, it depends on what you have to offer.
Okay.
Not every time somebody deceives their marriage, they get a divorce. It's not all the time.
That is true.
Sometimes it's the number of time, and sometimes it takes one time.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So your take on this is the direction it should go in, like relationships should go towards it. Do you think people were naturally born that way?
Born what way?
To be polygamous?
No, not at all. I believe it's a choice that you should have. And when I ask you if infidelity was a crime, it's not. It's immoral, right?
True. Okay.
However, if you are married, you don't go to jail for cheating on your spouse. You can have an entire relationship for years, and there's no repercussion because you're not going to jail for it, and you may never get a divorce for it because it may be unknown to some people, especially to your spouse.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. In the household where I guess polygamy exists, what kind of stability does that bring? I mean, we're talking about a household with 2 and 3 wives.
Okay.
You smile.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But no, stability, it could bring, for example, financially. You bring 25,000, I bring 100,000, she brings 50,000. Combined makes what? A whole lot more than 2.
So you think it's economically friendly?
It could be.
To have that?
I believe there's a lot of benefits to it.
Listen, if I'm going to be in a polygamous relationship, okay, first of all, he better have some heavy pockets.
Maybe
Okay,
not.
and I'm not going to be in there thinking, and I don't know how many women are thinking like that in those type of relationships, like, oh, so we're going to come together and it's economically friendly. No, he better be balling, and he better have a lot of money, and he better be taking care of all of us. It ain't going to be no.
That's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
If I choose to do it, I have to make sure that I can take care of everyone myself.
Okay, so you're saying you personally, if you were
Me
to do
personally.
that, you
First of all, I'm not a polygamist. First
Okay,
of all,
that was
let's
my
get
next
that
question.
clear. Okay. However, at the same time, I'm not a gay man, but I support their cause.
Okay, gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I don't have to be that to support it. It's just my belief. I believe that the option should be there for people who want to take advantage of it. You know, 20 years ago, if a gay man or a gay woman come to you and tells you, 20 years later I'll be able to get married,
Probably
Would
wouldn't have
you-
believed it. No.
you wouldn't, never. But they put up a fight, and it was not violent. Okay, and now they can get married. I believe California was the first state that allows gay marriage.
I'm not sure. Probably.
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And the only reason why I believe, in my opinion, that it was allowed is because it's a game of numbers. It's money. Every law that is passed in America is because of money, pretty much.
I agree with that.
When you do the numbers, there's a lot of gay people. Let's say there was a million gay couples that wanted to be married, and marriage license is $300, $200. You do the math. That's, money for the state. Now, when other
You're right
states
about
realize all the gays are going to California and get married, why not keep our gays in our state? Now it's an America thing. You can be in any states in America and get married as a gay person.
Is it in all, by the way, is it in all states now?
I'm not sure. It's not something I
If
keep
it's
up
not,
with.
it's just about getting there.
Yeah, it's real close to it. I'm pretty sure half of America now, you're in the state, you can get married.
And you know what? I have friends who are gay, and I'm not against it in any way. Everybody
not
do
against
what,
gay.
live their lives, their own way. But okay, let's get back to this polygamy. So
Let's get to it. No, but the point I'm making is, if it's a game of numbers, okay, now gays can get married. That's extra marriage license. It's more money for the states, of course. Now, if you decide to have multiple husbands,
right.
if you want to have 2, 3 husbands, that's your choice. But that's 2 extra marriage licenses that you have to pay for.
Have to get in place for that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, my 3 husbands, how do you as a male feel about the other side of it? I think it's called polyandry, where the woman has multiple husbands.
I believe so, yeah.
Do you see yourself?
Do I see myself?
Do you think that's something, if you were to, let's say, when you get married or what have you, and your wife says, listen, I want to bring 2 other men into this relationship, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's all about understanding.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, even myself, if I choose to be a polygamist, right?
Right.
My wives will have to understand that you're not the only one in the relationship. And I have another wife.
So
It's about understanding. Now, if you want to have multiple husbands, they have to understand.
Wait. So you're telling me you get into a marriage and then an agreement, you guys got married because you understood each other. And then suddenly 2-3 years into the marriage, she has to understand that you're ready to bring wife number 2 and 3 in?
But you know what? America, the world is a crazy world these days.
It is. It is.
There are married couples that actually have girlfriends together.
So I've heard, yes.
If they had the opportunity to involve her in their marriage and get married to her, I'm pretty sure they would. You don't understand. The world has changed.
It has.
From what it used to be.
It has. So you think like in the next decade, 2 decades, that's the direction, like especially like the Western world would be heading towards?
I believe if more people
Or
start
open.
bringing more awareness to it, it will be. I mean, if the gays were then vocalize their opinions as far as what they want to do, I'm pretty sure right now they wouldn't be where they are right now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And I want to say this though, like even though I don't agree with it, the culture that we live in today, it is nominally monogamous. And so more and more the idea of polygamy, it's becoming accepted. So like we have like, I think reality shows, or they have been in the past, like Big Love, Sister Wives, and stories like that. And then there's even the crazy story of Warren Jeffs. I don't know if you're familiar with it, with fundamentalist Mormonism. Like I think he's probably locked up right now. But he took it like to another extreme. Like he had like 79 wives, and some of them were underage. So he ended up getting locked up for like child sexual abuse and all that crazy stuff or whatever. But like I think in Utah in the 1800s, it was a big thing. Like
still
polygamy
exists in Utah. It's called a cult, I believe.
There you go. You said that's the word. That's the word.
But I don't think they consider it polygamy. It's different. Because in Utah, I believe it could be underage girls being, involved with a grown man,
Right.
and
right.
it wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But this is not what I'm talking about.
Right. I know we're not talking about like underage wives or anything crazy like that. But I said that to say, like, the mentality, like, I think the public or the world and those who are like cringing and against it, I think the question is, what is the mindset of people who believe in polygamy? Like, are they mentally right? Now, I know it goes back to even like biblical days. Like, I think Abraham, he had like many sons. So I think he had many wives, and I'm not like
It's biblical.
So
I don't think it was Abraham. I think it was Jesus, King Solomon, right?
With multiple wives.
Yeah,
I believe
over
so.
600 or 900 wives.
Oh my God.
It's biblical, so it's been around for years.
For years, centuries.
Okay, now the Bible says, not to take anything away from homosexuality. The Bible said, homosexuality is a sin. But nowhere in the Bible is it's a crime or it's a sin for you to have multiple wives. I personally would never have multiple wives. It's a headache dealing with one. Okay, but multiple, it's ridiculous.
Are you saying that because your fiance is possibly going to be watching this?
Nah. I love her to death, and that's not the reason. No, that's not the reason. And if I were to feel that way at any point, I would vocalize it to her. And who knows? The Bible also says, when you ask, you shall receive. So unless you talk about it, you don't know where it's going. So you got to vocalize your opinion at all times.
You're right. So back to the mindset though, the mentality like of it. It breaks away from the traditional. Well, I guess in a sense we're saying that it is traditional.
Nothing is traditional anymore.
Okay.
Would you say gay marriage is traditional?
No, not at all.
No, it's a different world, man. The world has changed.
So it's like New World Order, bring in the
somewhat, and I think people should live life the way they choose to live life these days. And if you choose to be whatever you want to be, that's you, and you shouldn't have to hide it. You shouldn't have to hide who you truly are, what you truly want to do, and because you don't want to live your life in your 20s and your 30s, and when you're 60, you regret all the things you didn't get to do. I tell people, regret the things that you didn't get to do, and do not regret the things that you did in your life.
I agree. Plus, 60, like for a male trying to be polygamous at 60, I don't know how that really works for him. Like, can he handle?
Who knows? With those pills these days, this is nothing you can't handle. And see, when you talk about having multiple wives, people look at the sexual part of it. It's not always like that. And like to me, let's say you're my wife, okay, and you've been hell for the past however long we've been married, and we couldn't take it anymore, so we separated. And we couldn't afford a divorce because it's an expensive shit nowadays, right? Yes. And we are separated. While we are separated, I met somebody else. It's been 3 years since we separated, hypothetically.
Right.
And I met somebody else that I've been with for 2-3 years. This is the person that knows the new me, my wants, my needs. That's the person that really understands. You don't know anything about that because you live in your life. Let's say I become a vegetable or something happened to me where I can make decisions for myself.
What about the bank account? Is the money
We'll get there. We'll get to that.
Hey, gotta
Okay.
ask.
See, she's talking about the money. That's exactly what an evil wife would be talking about. So I made the right pick. But yeah, so now the person that really understands me, that really knows me, cannot make a decision whether to pull the plug or not pull the plug. You have to make that decision, and you don't know anything about me anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, you want me dead. I mean, there's a life insurance policy here. So first thing you want to say, yeah, pull the plug.
I mean, were you a good husband?
It doesn't matter. When it comes to life insurance policy, there's no such thing as a good wife or ex-wife. It's all good money.
Do you have student loans that's going to come out of there? Like,
all of it going to be paid.
because don't they get their money, boy? Okay.
Yeah, so the truth is, if you had the option to have multiple wives, you would have somebody else on your side that really understands.
Understood.
And help make that decision for you that you cannot make for yourself. As opposed to the wife that probably would be like, you know what, it's time for him to go.
So in other words, so he's justifying it by saying, so just in case you have an evil wife, you'll have a backup wife to help make those decisions and keep you alive while you're rich.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right.
So as long as, I mean, not even as long as, but what I find in some cultures where there are multiple wives, they aren't necessarily treated, like the wife is treated like the shadow of the relationship or like an animal or what have you. And I think that's another end of it where everybody's turning their noses up at it, or like this is not a lifestyle that should be lived. And actually, I don't want to quote which culture, like Middle Eastern cultures or what have you, where the wife is like, you got to shut up. I'm the husband and I'm the authority here. So I think those are some of the reasons why women are like, turned away by it. But so are you saying that you would be that husband if you were to be in a polygamous relationship where you're giving all your wives?
Which will never happen, by the way.
Which will never happen, right, of course. But are you saying you would be that husband? Like, how would you even divide your time among them?
Well,
I mean,
it can happen multiple ways.
Hold on, there's seven days in a week. First of all, how many wives do you think is enough for one man? Or you can't you can't determine a man's appetite.
Listen, exactly. I can make that decision for a man.
Okay.
But they can live in different households and they can all live together. It depends on.
So who lives in the main household? I mean, who lives in the main house? Or do they swap? Is there a main wife? And I don't even think women could even handle that. Like,
some women can.
Some of them can.
I mean, some women are dealing with it right now, and it's not even a marriage. Some married women are dealing with it, and there's a husband with a, what do you guys call it? Side girl? A side chick? Yeah, and they're dealing with it, and they are aware of it.
But then the women aren't equal, so I'm not sure if that's even,
What makes them not unequal? The fact that you're married, she's married, and this one is not married?
Of course. And I don't know what I was watching the other day. Maybe it was a documentary where a married couple decided that they needed to bring another woman in, and to make that woman feel equal, they went ahead and got a divorce. Which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, I heard that article.
I thought that was very good.
I read it. I know a wife that lives in a shack, and the side girl is living in a mansion.
The side girl, and they're still not equal.
I mean, what do you call equal?
I mean, if there's a title, if you're in a polygamous relationship and you have titles, like this is side wife that lives in the shack, mansion, wherever she lives, they won't feel equal. Like, I want to feel like, okay, she's going shopping, she has $10,000 to go shopping. I want $10,000 too.
Yeah, if I can afford it financially, why not?
Okay. You know what? I guess you're right. I guess it's what everybody.
There's different levels to it. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, oh yeah, because you have money and you should have multiple wives, or this one is not financially as great as you are, you shouldn't. I mean, if you can buy 3 burgers for 3 different wives, then I can buy 3 cars for 3 different wives. There's different levels to it.
And you know what? I guess in that case, it's what everybody agreed to.
Yeah.
If the woman agrees to live in the smaller house or sleep in the second room,
Yeah.
or if everybody want to sleep in the bed together.
It happens. It's happening right now as we speak.
You're right, but it keeps bringing me back, and I know like it's similar to like the families now with a husband and husband or wife and wife and adopting children, and I know there are a lot of research on it too, as back to like the mentality, the psyche of these people. I guess my question is, when it becomes common, how does that affect the children when you have a husband with 3 wives or a wife with 3 husbands?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, how does that affect the children? By the way, I think in research, as far as like gay marriages, if I'm not wrong, and I'm not gonna, quote per se, but I do think in that research, there weren't any like major differences in how these children were brought up over time. But I mean, what's your take on it?
Well, like I was saying, I'm glad you brought that up because I keep using you as an example. Let's say you're a teenager, right? And you got pregnant.
Okay.
And you were not ready for it, or whatever the reason is, you couldn't keep the kid and you want to put the kid up for adoption.
Right.
Okay, now, if 2 men are married, right? They are legally married, so they can legally adopt children.
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
Right. You are right.
Okay, so if polygamy was legal and I was married to 2 women, right?
Right.
Would you rather that your son is adopted by 2 gay men, or would you prefer that your son is adopted by myself and my 2 wives?
That's a very good question. Do I have to answer it?
I would love to hear your answer.
You know what? That's a tough one, because again, I have no problem with gays.
No, we don't at all. Not at all.
Do what you want. That's your lifestyle. And I have friends who are gay. To be honest with you, I would say I would want the best for my child, and whoever can offer the best life. So if that means you're gonna grow up with 2 men, but you're gonna have the best education possible, you're not being abused.
Of course, yeah.
So then why not?
Why not?
I'm not gonna,
You're absolutely
I
right.
definitely wouldn't limit it.
I believe the majority would have chosen.
The polygamous
Yeah.
relationship. So all of a sudden, polygamy is okay.
No,
this is odd that this is what you're up
Well,
against.
I'm not saying. Well, there shouldn't be anything wrong with it if it's understood. They always say a married couple always have an understanding that no one else understands. So what may not be clear to you, you probably see a married couple and be like, I would never accept that, or I would never accept this, and you don't understand the understanding that they have.
This is how my thing, and I guess we felt the same way, or I shouldn't say we, but I guess a lot of people felt the same way when the idea of gay marriages was coming into place. It was kind of like, okay, you talk about it long enough, and then you become used to it, and then it's okay. Polygamy, talk about it long enough, you get used to it, and then it's okay. So what else are we opening up the door to? Are we going to be getting married to pets and animals and
Oh well, I don't think you
promoting
can.
bestiality?
We cannot ever get married to pets, but some people are having sexual relations with
Exactly.
pets, horses, dogs, and all kinds of stuff. And again, I'm gonna say it again. We are living in a crazy world.
We are. So when they start fighting, just like gays fought for their rights, we're going to start fighting for the polygamous marriages and what have you. And okay, soon we're going to be fighting. Okay, I don't want to take it in that direction that we're fighting to get married to animals. But the question is, what's next? And how is it going to affect us?
Well, people put
as a
life
society?
insurance policies on pets.
True.
So-
My cat don't have one, but
Hey, listen. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone come out and be like, I want to get married to my dog. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore in this world. Nothing. I mean, even churches don't surprise me anymore. You know, you go to church.
Oh my God.
You know,
Which was another thing we spoke about, and your views. And again, I was thrown off because, yeah, let's go down. Just let's put polygamy down for a bit. And by the way, a lot of that exists in the church.
Exactly.
A lot of it does exist in the church.
Infidelity church is the best place to find
home of infidelity.
Yeah,
I hate to brand it that way.
It is the home of infidelity. Definitely is.
So, I think where you kind of like surprised me when we got into talking about church is we're on each other's social media, and I think on Sunday you're in your Sunday's best jacket, tie, everything. Nobody's sharper than Vladimir on a Sunday morning. You know.
I mean, I look good every day, not just Sunday morning.
And so,
what's today? Today's
Saturday.
Oh, I still look good.
There you go. So when when we got into talking about religion, I think I was the one that was trying not to step on your toes. But then you kind of surprised me. Do you go to church currently?
I don't go to church as often as I should. But I slow down from going to church, and lately I haven't been going. It's like, well, I'm at church every day. We at church right now. They say the body is your temple, right? So wherever you are, you at church. As long as you know the word of God and you can say it in your heart, we are at church. And I feel like I don't have to go to church, to a facility called church, to be at church.
To be at church.
You know what I mean? I mean, what do we go to church for, honestly?
No, you can't ask me that question.
We go to church to hear the words of God, right?
Okay.
Now, who are we getting those words from?
The pastor.
And who are those pastors?
People just like you.
Criminals, a lot of them, but just people that's been doing so much time in jail, in prison, and they found a Bible and read it and understand it better than most people, and they can read it to people. And now they open up a church and open up a business technically. Okay? I don't believe in pastors. I believe in church. I believe in God. I don't believe in religion.
I was going to ask, what is your religion?
I'm Catholic, but I don't believe in, I don't even know what I am anymore. I mean, I've been to so many different churches. I was born Catholic.
Okay.
But it's just, church, most churches is really a place of business, non-profit and all cash. And I've been to churches where they make you feel like crap when you don't dig in your pocket and give something.
And give.
I've had a church in Miami. I don't want to say the name of the pastor, but he asks people who's not giving tithes to leave the church.
Wow. So let me ask you a question. Were you ever like a devout, is Catholic under Christianity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can't.
It is.
There's so many. I grew up Pentecostal, and I was in church every Sunday, Sunday school, Bible study, prayer meeting. Mm-hmm. They were speaking in tongues. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to tell this story, but I pulled away. I pulled away from it when I realized that I didn't have to go to church to find God. Now, don't get me wrong. Like coming up, we're in May, and the end of June, I'm flying out to Dallas for
mm-hmm.
MegaFest. Mm-hmm. I love Bishop Jakes. I listen to him every single day. And the church that I used to go to in Fort Lauderdale, occasionally I still do send an offering. But I do those things because I have been among them. I see what they do. I see how they give back. But to sit in church every Sunday, it's not something I'm going to do because I don't even believe in having that umbrella of, okay, you're Pentecostal, you're Seventh-day Adventist, you're this, you're that. As a matter of fact, I think I felt closest to God outside of the church, going within myself, right. Through meditation and what have you. And that's how I found and identified with God. And then that kind of like pulled me away from church because I realized that, wait a minute, the one place you would think you can go looking for God, he wasn't there, he was within. And a lot of people would dispute that, but I guess I'm saying this to say, where is your position on that? Like how do you stand as far as, I know you mentioned the money, it's a business.
That's one of it, yeah.
It's one of it.
Some churches I went to are what really pulled me away from church. And actually, I feel the same way you feel. You don't have to be at church to be in the presence of God. I used to go to a church called, should I say the name?
Don't.
Yeah, the Faith Center. Sunrise. I mean, great pastor. Pastor Fernandez is a great pastor.
Pastor Fernandez.
He is a great pastor. But here's where my problem with him was the last time I went to that church, that probably was in 2010. I don't recall. But he was absent. Okay, and he had a substitute pastor. Okay. And that pastor was at the church saying, he was preaching and he started talking about money, of course, and money drive them. And he says, if I had a drug dealer that goes to my church and he's giving money to the church consistently, it's not my job to try to save him, because if I save him, he's going to stop selling drugs.
Right.
And if he stops selling drugs, where the hell, those were the exact words, where the hell is he going to find money to bring to my church? So I wouldn't even try to save him. So it's about money. It's not about really taking somebody from a bad place to a better place. As long as they can bring you money, you don't have any problem if they kill or steal, whatever they do, it's fine as long as they bring money to church. Now, I didn't have any problem with Pastor Fernandez. My problem with him was, if I'm leaving my kids at home with someone, I have to make sure it's someone that's going to take care of my kids just as well as I would.
Right, right.
And that's where I'm like, you know what?
So you're saying that he left someone over his people or his followers who just wasn't.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
and that's when I stopped going to that church. Now I started going to another church, and I realized, again, they telling people to leave if you're not giving money.
Money.
And
I think that's the reason why a lot of people are running from churches. Now, this is why.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
There's another church I was going to. I'm like, you know what? These black churches, they all about money. It's a showboat.
Oh.
They take your money and probably buy big houses with it and cars. So, you know what? Let me try a white church. And I tried that. Not too far from, it's pretty close on Cypress Creek. I'm not going to say the name of the church. No. It was called.
Not the one where it was a big scandal. I forget the name of it. Oh, it's not coming to me. Maybe it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
But there was a scandal.
Of course. Pastor was sleeping with most of the people at the church.
Oh, my God.
So now, I believe.
Polygamy, once again.
Well, somewhat.
Fidelity.
But I think, and he was preaching about infidelity, like his wife changed his life. He was on drugs, and his wife this. If he wasn't for his wife, he wouldn't be who he is today. Blah 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 blah. Praising his wife, which is fine. But you sleeping with pretty much
The church.
other wives at the church.
Ooh, he was messing with other people's.
White is right. And, and I think you're a hypocrite for telling me it's wrong to be infidel to my wife, but you're doing the same thing. And I can never believe, I'm not saying all pastors are bad.
Right.
I'm not saying all of them are bad, but it's going to take a very long time and a lot of God's words to make me believe in these pastors. Now, you watch TV, you look at articles online, you see pastors are getting booked for child pornography, for even sleeping with kids. For most recently, 2 pastors were charged or convicted for human trafficking.
Wow.
That was involved in some kind of prostitution ring. I mean, it's nasty, the things that those people are standing in church preaching to you are doing.
Right.
And they are such hypocrites. They are making you look like you're bad for just thinking about sleeping with somebody else when you're married.
And when they're doing the same.
And you're doing even worse.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think? People still go, I mean, an Easter Sunday morning, you can't get through traffic because everybody is headed to church. I mean, so much money is spent in getting the fanciest clothes, and it's a fashion competition, what have you. But people are still heading to church every Sunday morning, and some of them are aware of these things or what have you. What do you think? Personally, I would call it like brainwash. I hate to say it because I was one of those people, and like I said, I'm even going up to that convention. But at the same time, I'm not religious and I do not identify as Christian. But what is it that keeps people going? Why? And I want to say, I hate to say it and use color, but especially a lot of our black people. What is it that keeps them going to church every Sunday morning?
Well, number one, people want something to believe in.
Okay.
Whether it exists or not. And everyone is looking for a leader. Now, some of them find that leader at church, that pastors, if he can say the right things. And it all come, like when you say black people, it all came from slavery. Slaves, they work outside on the field and they needed someone to motivate them.
Something to believe in.
You know what I mean? And as long as they can believe in something, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And it's always going to be that way for a very long time.
But there are some good, and that's what I'm trying to establish here. Like, there are good, I'm not against Christians, Muslims, whatever you believe in, go for it. That's you. I respect it. That's your thing. All I'm saying is, for one, if you are Christian, and I grew up Christian and I understand what what is expected of you, if you're going to be that thing, be it 100%.
Of course.
You can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that's when I'm going to look at you, no matter what it is. If you say you believe in something, like of the vegetarian who, and I'm kind of talking about myself here, who sometimes might eat chicken or something else. I don't eat chicken anymore. But I'm just saying, I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So it's kind of like, if you believe in it, do that. Don't do anything else. And that's where I have a problem. If you're going to be something, be it. Be whatever you want to be. Believe in what you want to believe in, but stick to it.
Exactly.
And that's my thing with it.
Yeah, man. But church, the most evil people goes to church. Yeah, honestly. I mean, this is if you're searching for evil, you don't go to church. You may never find evil. You know what I mean? And again, pastors or people who probably wake up one morning and be like, you know what, I want to stop living the life of crime. Let me open up a church, or let me become a pastor. You know what I mean? The crime doesn't stop. It's just shielded by the name of God.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's just, they are using God's name as a shield, but it never stopped them from doing the things that they do.
Yes, that's.
You know what I mean? There's a pastor recently. Those people in Orlando, the gay people in Orlando that were murdered.
Yes. At the one at the club.
Yeah. He was the first pastor to realize, oh, they deserve. What kind of pastor says that they deserve to die? They deserve. All of that. And he got arrested recently.
The same pastor.
The same pastor for involving child pornography. He was watching actually have two minors actually having sex in front of him. He watching, and sometimes he gets involved. That's what the article says. I mean, I have the information. I'll send it to you in a few. But it is just disgusting. And you're a pastor. You're a pastor. And you're saying that they deserve to die. What? Because they are gay?
They like to cast judgment. I mean, when I say they, I'm not even just talking about
not just pastors. I mean, that's Christians. period.
And I'm not. And that's
Christians think.
I never want to be around those type of people who feel as though, well, this sin is better. Is worse than that, or this is that. No, it's at the end of the day, if you, I like to use this example. If you grew up in a jungle where you didn't have access to, let's say, a Bible or what have you, a pastor, you're gonna have that innate. You know right from wrong, and then again, what makes society, it kind of determines like right from wrong. But you grow up with something called instinct, and you will connect with that spirit, that higher being. You would recognize that there's something higher. So do you really need church to give that to you? And the answer is no.
If you ask me, it's no. I mean, you believe in God and you know the word of God and you truly believe in God in your heart, you at church.
And I see more, a lot of people are awakening and they're realizing that, they are running out of the church. and they are well, some running in, some running out,
Right.
because they call it the end days. I call it that we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and that's like a whole different discussion.
Right.
Because I'm really deep with some of this stuff, but a lot of people are awakening because they're realizing, you know what, I've been and I believe in tithing and offering, but there are a lot of people, they're realizing, wait a minute, I'm putting money into this household, which is the church, but my household is suffering.
What is paying your tithe really?
10% of your earnings.
I mean, I believe I've given away a lot more than that on a daily basis. Not to a church.
Gotcha.
I don't believe I have to go to church and give them 10% of what I've earned.
Right.
To feel better about myself. I have taken care of kids, not my kids. I have helped people that need help with some serious stuff. I've done it all. But what I refuse to do is go to church, and what I refuse to do anymore, I should say, is go to a church and be like, I probably will do it here and there. But I don't think I should be obligated to go to church every Sunday or every Monday, every Tuesday to give them my money. And when I look around, you're looking so much better than me when I'm looking at your houses on TV or wherever. I'm wondering, like, what am I doing that you're not doing other than church?
Exactly. And again, I'm not against giving to the church. I give to the church, but I give to a church.
But do you have to give to only church to pay your tithe?
No. And you know what? That's you raise a good point. You raise a good point. Now I give to a particular church because, first of all, I feel if I'm getting something out of it, well, I'm not saying I give to get, but for instance, I would tithe or give to T.D. Jakes' ministry because I listen to him like almost every single day and I get out of it. It motivates me. It gets me going. So I feel like he's sowing into me. Now, the church that I give to here in South Florida, I give to them because they do a lot in the community. And
right.
That's my way of giving back to the community through that body. I trust them. I've seen what they've done. They have come to my house when my lights were off and paid and turned back on that electricity for me or what have you. So I know what they do and they're capable of. Now, are all churches like that? No, it's up to the individual to decide, like, okay, am I giving to a cause or am I helping the pastor to get the latest jet?
Yeah.
To get a fancy jet that I can't fly in or,
Now, I want to make something clear. It's not all churches. It's
right.
not every single church.
Right.
But I personally can't trust any one of them just because of the few that have deceived me so far. I imagine 3 back to back is like, wow. You all the same. You know what I mean? So it's going to be extremely difficult for me to be like, okay, I believe in your church. It's going to take a lot. I'm sorry. It will take a whole lot.
So let me ask you a question. What happens? What do you believe happens? Because then I'm sure there's people watching who are devout Christian or what have you, and they're probably looking at us like they're going to hell, right?
I say the same thing about some of them.
But for me personally, hell is what you create. You create your own hell. Don't tell me that if I don't feel I'm a good person and I've done great all my life, help people, and because I don't believe in your specific fate, I'm going to be cast in a fiery lake. I don't believe in that. What do you believe is the afterlife?
The afterlife? I don't want to go get that deep. I don't think there's such thing as an afterlife. I may be wrong, but I like to see for myself.
And when it's your time to get there,
I'll get there. You know what I mean?
So then in that case, a lot of people would say, well, you know what? I'm a Christian. This is what I believe in. I was born, I grew up in this, and I don't want to take the risk. It's too much to lose. If there is a hell, at least I'm saved.
I mean, I don't think anything can worse than where we are right now. Anything can be worse than where we are right now.
Okay.
I think if there's a hell, Earth is hell.
It's right here,
It's right here. I mean,
look
think
at what's
about
happening in certain places. I mean,
America's a great country, but I've traveled. I've done a lot of traveling. And
you meant hell is like here, like even in America?
Yeah, it's where we are.
In our backyard.
I'm not just saying America. It's like everywhere. You know what I mean? As long as you are living, you're living in hell.
Okay, so we've touched on polygamy. We went into religion a bit. Man, there's so much more to talk about, but I think we can leave some of that for
next time.
The next episode. We're not here to piss anybody off. We touched on polygamy, religion, pastors sleeping with people's wives, tithing. I want to make it clear I don't believe in polygamy and I don't have any problems with Christianity or religion. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. What does that mean? That means that I found peace within me, and I think that's the only place I need to search for peace within myself. I believe that God is within all of us. The Bible even says that, for those of you who follow the Bible. Who wrote the Bible, by the way?
The Bible's been lost in translation many times.
You know, what I like to ask, I mean, there are a lot of people who they're like hard, heavy. I know we're closing out Bible thumpers, and they stick to what's there. You know what I'm more concerned about? I'm more concerned about what's not there. The parts of the Bible that were taken out that people can't see.
Yeah.
My question is, why was it taken out? Why can't I read it? What are they hiding?
Well, we'll never know.
And we'll never know.
We will never know, but people will say the Bible's this, the Bible's that. The Bible's been rewritten in so many different languages, and
it's becoming
trust
lost in
me, I can
translation.
write a full sentence to you and ask you to translate it from English to French. By the time you finish, it's a few words are not going to be the same. You know what I mean? A few words are not going to have the same meanings, and the Bible's been lost in translation. I mean, not the entire Bible is what the original Bible says.
Right.
You know what I mean? I, on the other hand, feel like whoever's going to be pissed off is going to be pissed off. In America, we are way too sensitive. We trying to go around bushes to express what we really feel. Listen, it doesn't matter what you say. Someone's going to be offended.
Somebody's going to be offended. You're right.
Okay? You can say your name is Salita, and they be like, oh,
They're gonna say
that was
Salita.
my name. That's not how you're supposed to pronounce. Somebody always going to
He
find
did
a way.
it. Even the video, he was like, is it Salita or Salita?
Yeah, somebody's gonna.
That's
I'm sure he was not offended. He probably liked the name, but it's like somebody always gonna have something to say,
They will.
and until we start accepting that, stop being sensitive and express what you really feel.
And you know what? It's good to have these conversations because, some people, we go with what we were taught to say or how we were taught to feel about certain things. But a lot of people don't actually sit down and actually listen to both sides of it. Like this, you know what? No, that makes sense. We're not taught to think. We're taught to just go by the book. And I'm gonna say a lot of stuff that's written, it's not everything. You have to decipher stuff for yourself. Even when you're in church, don't just go with the pastor's interpretation. We really got to find God for ourselves.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good discussion.
It definitely was.
A very good discussion. And we're going to have a lot more of these and a lot more.
I believe that people should have options. People should choose whatever they decide to do with their lives and do it. And no one should feel any type of way about it. And
Live your life.
live your life. I mean, life is short, man. Life is short. And again, it doesn't matter what you do in this life. Someone is not going to be happy about it. Who do you live your life for? For other people or for yourself? Live life for yourself. And if you choose to be gay, have multiple wives, have 20 kids with 25 women, which I do not condone, as long as if that's what your choice is, you make that choice. You have to take care of your kids. I can't stand a man that's not in his kid's life.
I agree.
And if that's your choice, that's your choice. And don't live your life for anyone.
Do your own thing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and subscribe to his page. Sign up for more of this crazy stuff. And he's an extremist, but he's an extremist on some topics. But it's good to have these conversations. So subscribe, sign up. See you next time.